Lovely to have you here, the Australian premiere of After She Died. I'd like to welcome to the stage writer-director Jack Dignan.
Hello, everyone.
Absolute pleasure to screen your film at Anoh Horror. So we're going to have a little Q&A. We are under a little pressure for time just because we've got another session and we did start a little late. So what I'll end up doing is we'll be throwing questions to the audience earlier. But we're just waiting for Paul. Where's Paul? Paul Talbot. No, is he?
Hello.
Here we go. Paul. Paul Talbot. Is she? Right, so you take a seat down.
Vanessa's gone 10-1.
So we've got Paul Talbot here, Liliana De La Rosa, sorry.
Nice.
And we're just waiting for Vanessa Madrid, who apparently has gone to the ladies' room. But if you guys want to know, just watch out. These chairs are a little dodgy, but just put yourself up on those if you can. And you guys will sort of share this mic here.
Hello.
Yeah, I think we might get underway because the first question is to you, Jack. So look, you've got a bunch of shorts under your belt, and now this is your first feature. I wanted to know a little bit about the writing process. Like, how easy was it to transition to the feature and write the first feature?
Good question. The funny thing is, this isn't the first feature I've written. I mean, I think since the age of 10, I've been writing feature films. They've been fucking garbage, don't get me wrong. But this is probably the 6th or 7th one. Probably the first one I was like, yeah, this one will do it. This is okay. This one's good. So it was just it was a long process writing it. I started in 2019, about 3 years ago. I wrote it at the same time as a short film I made around the same time called It Feels Like Spring. And then they both sort of just took off, and I was working on both of them simultaneously. And I think we were still writing it as we were filming it as well. So we had a little COVID lockdown in the middle, and I was like, we filmed half the movie. We still had about 8 days of shooting left to do from our 18-day shoot. And I was like, ooh, now that I've seen half the movie, I can make the other scenes better. Much to actors and lawyers who already learned the lines, and wrote the lines, but long process, but a good process.
What did you guys think of the script when you were given the script for the first time?
Oh, well, it was back in 2020, so it was a while ago. I remember when I first got a hand on the full script, I read it, I was quite loud. I was invested. When I read it, I thought the character was me, funnily enough. Reading it, I could see myself playing Jen. I could see myself embodying the character and immersing myself in the entire story. And I thought it was a really great story. Welcome. What do you say?
Vanessa and Ashley learned the Spanish script bit, not having like a full fluent Spanish background, which does amazing. Because if you ever look at the screen and she pulled it off.
You mean Liliana?
Liliana, yeah, sorry. It's obviously Spanish, but yeah, she did so well at learning that. So when I was on set, I saw that, I thought, oh my God, so she put so much work into it. She said, oh, I don't speak Spanish.
Why are you telling my secrets?
Because they got talented you were. When I first got the script, my character was so complex. He doesn't say much, it's all in his actions. Even though I keep walking into every scene, I have a new thought every single time. My first one was basically deciding to bring my wife back. That's it. And the next one that followed was someone going up the grave. And it just kept accumulating to more problems, and I'm trying to figure out how to solve it. But my character, I play my father into the character, because he's very old school. Don't show emotions, and we just say whatever we say to just put icing on the cake. So that's a lot of the process of what I was trying to show you instead of say. So yeah, that was my character.
Vanessa, what did you think of the script when you first got it?
Oh, thank you. Catch me up. Okay.
Vanessa Madrid, by the way.
Love it. I couldn't put it down, actually, when I got the script. I read it from front to end in one sitting, and I was just like, whoa, where is this going? Yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was very complex. After talking with Jack, I later understood the whole age difference. I'm like, I don't look 40. I don't get it. But then it was a bit of special effects. Anyone can be 40. So yeah, no, I loved it from when I got it. Yeah.
Jack, I mean, I'm at great level. I'm wearing the T-shirt of Giallo films and you know that kind of thing. What influences, if any, did you have when writing the script and when shooting the script?
So a lot of the influences for the film came from Asian horror and Japanese horror in particular. There's a big film I watched that had a big impact on me called Audition from 1999, which I think some of you watched. Before the film came out, which I have to frankly apologize for because it's kind of fucked up movie. But the visual style of Asian horror movies and the sound design and the creepy unnaturalness of it was a real big influence on this movie.
Yeah. And I mean, were you guys horror fans at all coming into this? Did he get you to watch stuff other than, say, Audition to prep for the film?
I personally, probably the only horror I had watched was Jaws, and that's not really horror. No, but it's funnily enough, after doing this and this whole experience, I love horror now. Beforehand, scared to the core of anything. So it's really weird just watching myself up there and like, I'd be terrified as well of myself. It's super weird. It's a really, really weird thing. What do you think?
Oh, well. Yeah, so Jack actually brilliantly put together a few different movies with different themes. So we had like a love theme, genre, and then we had so many. And that was a big introduction and like quick crash course into horror for me because I too am like so scared. But acting in it is actually very empowering, especially when you're the scary one. It's very fun, very fun. But yeah, watching it is like not natural for me. But now I love it. I love it, yeah.
Yeah, Jack pretty much says a lot of links of his previous work. So we researched, I pretty much researched everything that he did prior. Because firstly, if you're going to audition for someone, at least have a bit of knowledge. Also, you know, sometimes you get an audition, you'll turn up and probably in some dodgy area, in someone's lounge room, telling you a couple lines, you're like, okay, is this a feature film? Yeah. And then from there, he allowed us to give us flexibility as an actor. So he actually allowed us to add more to our character, which was pretty fun. Like there was the scene where Jen was bleeding on the floor, and Jack just allowed freedom for me to just go do whatever I want, slide across and kill him when he said every single take I did it. But yeah, no, the freedom that he gave us was to bring more, which was really nice, instead of just tell us what he wanted. So that was quite nice.
So the casting, like I'm very curious, Jack, how you found these fantastic actors. You know, was there a lengthy audition process? Did you write with any of them in mind? I thought you could tell us a bit.
I hadn't met any of them before the audition process, except for Bob, who's in the audience today. No, we had quite a long audition process. That's good. There are a few online advertisements that I found all three of you on Star now, actually. Is that correct? Yeah, but I found actors from all different sorts of places and some. So I got that from my short films that I've worked with before. But it was a lot of coming, instead of a take-in for one scene or two scenes, coming into a little in-person audition. For some of you, it was maybe 3 or 4 or 5 impersonations, I'm sorry. And then eventually I got these wonderful actors, which I'm very happy with.
Now look, it looks fabulous. I guess it definitely must have been an ambitious production to stage. I'd be interested in knowing, all of you, what was sort of some of the easiest things to do and what were some of the hardest things to do?
Okay, I'll let you start with this one.
Oh, I'm going to start, okay.
The stairs. The stairs scene was traumatizing, and I did that physically. It was very demanding, but I gave blood, I gave sweat, and I gave a lot of tears. What was the question again?
What did you find easy and what did you find hard?
Oh, okay, so I started with the hard stuff. That was hard, but once I had finished that scene, and now that I've gotten to see it, it was worth it. So I think the hardest part about filming was probably because we got shut down by COVID. I feel like once we got back to it and the whole process, it was distressing for me sometimes because, this is me speaking truthfully, it was distressing for me because I felt like I never kind of could remove myself from the character. I gave a lot of myself as Liliana to Jen, and then at some points I got confused. I couldn't really separate me and her, and then I kind of found a balance, but that was what was hard. The easiest part was just the collaborative experience, collaborating with Jack, working as actor and as director was really easy, like an easy process, and a lot of fun too. Working with Reese, who was our DOP, a king, amazing. Working with him and working with my cast was the easiest process. Like, it was just, it was wonderful. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that was the best part too, working with you guys. Okay, so for me, the hardest part, is when Florence first comes into it. Because she's quite fresh and new as a human zombie thing, the stillness that she needed because she hadn't really learnt to be fully human. So she's pretty, I don't know if you guys noticed, but she's a bit weird, She's very rigid and she's very still. And for me, as you can tell, I don't really do that very easily, so that for me was very hard. And the easy thing was me being totally batshit crazy and murdering everyone. I don't know, I guess that's what I'm doing horror. But yeah, so going really far into Florence and, the darker side of her was kind of easy and fun. Yeah. Oh, and one more hard thing was, when I fall down the stairs and I break my neck? Horrible. So, what you guys don't know, that's 2 seconds, yeah? No. I had to stay there for 15, 20 minutes with my neck like this so the prosthetic wouldn't go. Yeah, that shit's hard. Love it.
I had it so easy. I just kept coming in and out to do my scene. But I honestly had to commend all three of you because you were there for hours doing your scenes, even with the blood scene where you were cutting away. Liliana had to keep slipping on blood, and Vanessa had to pull her while she was in a pool of blood.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just lying in a corner. Big sad. Watch this as it happens. And the easiest part was we did a lot of groundwork on our character prior to filming. You did a lot of groundwork. I met up with her, she had, no crap, 20 pages of her character. Well, she was so excited, she's can you tell our character, do we cheat on each other? She's trying to come up with all these scenarios, and I was like, whoa, this is really but it made it so easy for us to do our chemistry character, and coming on set, that was just so much easier. Yeah, and then Liliana would make me hug her. She goes, my daughter! She goes, I'm your favorite daughter! Hug me! I'm like, before everyone else. Okay. So as soon as I got in, I was like, okay, I'm a dad. Straight as soon as I got on set, I'm always one, I'm a dad. But yeah, I was very lucky. And Jack had to sit there for hours and hours and hours through every single day. Yeah, so.
No, wait. You know what else was hard? It was winter.
Oh, yeah.
It was winter. And the Deadwoods was in the, where were we? We were in the bush. And it was freezing. It was so cold. And when we was filming inside the house and I was covered in blood with like my wrists like slit, it was freezing. I was covered in cold blood and I was like actually convulsing and everyone was like, you can stop acting now. I'm like, no, I'm fucking cold. Like, that's what it was. But that was, yeah, like the weather. But we did it. We did it.
Look, I'd like to throw it out to the audience. Is there anyone who's got a question I'd like to ask?
Last one.
Yeah?
This one goes out to the actors actually. Is that your first feature? I mean, full-length movie you've actually done, or?
Indeed.
Other
Indeed, first feature.
all three of this?
Thank you.
It's my first feature in a lead dual role, but I had done one feature prior where I'm like a supporting character.
Yeah, that's first one too. That had a bit more depth in the character. Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Anyone else got a question? In the middle there?
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask, the visual effects were very effective, obviously, for a smaller budget feature film. So I just wanted to ask how you created the fire sequence.
The fire sequence. A lot of that is a mix of smoke effects on the day, a bit of stock footage, and a bit of VFX work from a wonderful VFX artist named Emmanuel, who did all the fire stuff for us.
Actually, I'd like to ask a sort of, well, a little serious question. No, not that the other questions weren't seriously, but how, if I'm asking about sort of the funding side of things and how hard do you find it trying to make something like a genre film, a horror film in Australia, the support or the lack of support that you kind of encounter? I'm curious to sort of hear your thoughts about that and, moving forward, do you feel like you're going to have to kind of move in a certain direction to try and get more support?
Yeah, it was an interesting process getting funding for this movie. We were initially pitching it and trying to get funding for it back at the start of 2020, and then COVID happened and everyone shut off their wallets and no one wanted to give any money out to any movies because all the films they were making already were on the back burner, they were being paused, held off for whatever reason. And so we didn't have a lot of money to begin with. We tried to go to Australian sources originally, Screen Australia and things like that, and they said no. So we went to international, also said no. And so then it was actually Scott, the first AD, sitting there in the second back row. He was the one that was like, what if you just start making it yourself? What do you got? And I was like, yeah, right, fuck it, why not? So we just started making it, doing pre-production with literally no money. And throughout the year or so we were free, just managed to get more and more funds from obscure sources and family members that I managed to blackmail, some of which are here tonight, hello. And eventually we got a little bit of money, not a lot of money, just a small little bit of money, enough to make the movie and put it out on screen.
Awesome. Realize the budget that you probably
Thank
have.
you very much.
Well done there, and I wish you very well on the festival circuit
Thank you.
and beyond. Have we got any other questions from the audience?
Yeah, congratulations on finishing the film. I know it's a very hard thing to do, to make a movie, and well done casting Vanessa. But I was going to ask, what's your distribution plan and festival strategy?
Thank you, first of all. We have played at a few festivals around the world already, and this is the first time in Australia, which is awesome. Finally bringing it home, thanks to these wonderful people. We have We released the film internationally. So North America, the film is out on demand for the last 3 or 4 weeks, which is going well, which is awesome to hear. Australia, I'll let you know soon.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm a stickler for sort of endings. I thought this had a great ending, but I'm just wondering, you know, do you think, you know, horror films should end grimly on a downbeat ending, or do you think if a film ends on a super upbeat level, then it's not, you know, it's not a horror movie?
I don't think there should be any one ending for a horror movie. I think whatever the narrative requires is how the film should end. Interestingly, for this movie, before we started shooting, there was a lot of back and forth about at what point do we end the movie. I don't know if you guys remember, there was originally a very lengthy sequence after this that we were going to shoot, and we had the location booked, and it was like a 5-page dialogue scene set 15, 20 years after the end of this movie. And I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks before we actually started shooting, we were like, we don't need this. So we canceled the location, removed the booking, got rid of it. And even when we were shooting it, there were a couple of shots that were going to take place after that shot that were maybe a little less ambiguous as to what happens. The final shot was originally going to be the first shot of the movie. It's on the pier, which ended up being the opening credits. It was going to like pan and crossfade through a bunch of different locations that were in the film, and end back at the pier where the lovely parents got married. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is the ending that was required for this movie. I think personally, I think we ended at the right point. But yeah, whatever the horror film desires should be, it's perfect ending.
Yeah. Do you guys agree on that?
Yes, I do. Oh no. Oh yes. I think there should not be a box in how a horror film should end. And if you want to make a horror film, make it your own. That's what I think.
I have a film when I read the script that I thought it was going to be like a TV series or something, because there was that many stories within it, and I just kind of felt like they were going to take over the whole town, and yeah, the survivors were going to fight back, or yeah.
Don't spoil the sequel.
It feels like it's sort of, you know, suggesting possibly something.
Well, we were saying the sequel was going to be a Western, so.
Let's not get carried away. No, all good. Look, this is probably all we've got time for, only because we've got a little bit of pressure from another session that needs this cinema. But look, thank you so much for partaking in this Q&A. It has been an absolute pleasure having you here and screening your film. Please give a warm applause to the cast and crew here.
Thank you for having us, first of all. It's been awesome being here tonight. And thank you everybody for coming out. It really does mean a lot to us. Small films are very hard to get made and even harder to find an audience, and the fact that you're all here and it was such a big fucking crowd is amazing. I will remember this forever, so thank you all.
Before we go, I just wanted to do a plug for a session tomorrow at 5 p.m. is the world premiere of Your Love Is Mine, which I think was the trailer before this started, if you caught that, if you're in the cinema. 2 Melbourne directors, and they're going to be doing a Q&A after that. So if you want to continue supporting Australian content, feature filmmakers, we'd love to see you here tomorrow at 5 p.m. for that world premiere, Your Love Is Mine. But thank you very much. Thank you again. Awesome. Please come outside and have a drink.
Okay.
See you, Brian.